so first we're going to talk about the fundamental use of the lapel, and it's something that I discovered became my main style of play back in 2012. I started using it as a purple belt, and it was actually shut down because a couple of my training partners didn't like me using the lapel because they felt it tied them up too much and they didn't know how to deal with the actual situation. So I stopped using it for a while, and I kind of rediscovered my passion for using the lapels in jiu-jitsu in 2013, 14-ish, okay, beginning of 2013 and 14. And so the reason it's effective, I'm going to explain to you why. Because when you're using the lapel as a grip here, at first you can feel like it's loose, like there's slack, and it doesn't give you a lot of control over your opponent, but it's just a matter of using it in the right way. And so you have to learn the techniques to actually take advantage of its unique control over your opponent's body. And the reason it's effective is because if I get a sleeve grip here, so a conventional grip in jiu-jitsu, the control I have over him is only exerted in a pull. Like having the sleeve grip, I can push a little bit, but he can move his arm and resist. It doesn't control his whole body. The only thing I can 100% control where his body goes is if I pull. That's what gives me my power from the sleeve grip, is I pull, and it just pulls the right side of his body towards me. So I'm controlling just his right side of his body here. And when we're playing guard, that would translate a little bit into his posture. So in jiu-jitsu, we're trying to break someone's posture. When we're playing guard, if I just use the sleeve, I can do it a little bit. But he's able to resist and stand up, and he can also weave out and get control of my sleeve, okay? So I'm controlling something that he has control back over me with, okay? So when you use the lapel, that is now gone. Now when I control the lapel, he cannot move his lapel to control my hand. When I'm using the sleeve, though, he can use his sleeve to control my hand. Whereas this, there's nothing he can really do except try and break the grip. So that's one of the fundamental advantages of using the actual lapel guard here, okay? Now the other thing is, like I said, it controls his shoulder when you're grabbing the sleeve. It controls here. It controls a little bit of his rotational movement, but not very much, and I can't really push with it. If I want to get a little more direct contact with his body, I would use a collar grip, okay? Collar grip allows me to pull, but now it allows me to also push. So I can pull and I can push. But I don't have any ability to turn his body one way or the other as far as controlling which way he's facing, okay? Now with the lapel, it does just two things. It allows me to control the pull, but not the push. I can't push with the lapel. It's not going to let me. If I start incorporating my leg into it, then we can start to get some push action. But for now, it's just a pull. But it's a unique pull, because when I pull the lapel, it tightens up. Go ahead, lift your arm here. It tightens up around his back and goes all the way to the opposite side shoulder. That's where the pull is generating from. It's actually on his far shoulder and down around his back. So what that does is it allows me to turn his body by pulling on the lapel. That's why when you use positions like passing the lapel underneath the leg here, it's really effective because you see it goes all the way around his body, breaking his posture as well as controlling which way he's facing. So when I'm here playing like an open lapel guard, which is what I actually started doing before worm guard, I would use this, I would control an ankle, and I'd use this control here to turn his body and break his base. So now it's hard for him to stand up, and it's hard for him to turn that way, to start putting like knee pressure in and start to try and knee cut. Because he wants to face that way so he can drive knee pressure in to pass my guard, as most people pass to the side. So by pulling on the lapel, it stops him from being able to put pressure on that side, okay? And so now by manipulating the direction we pull the lapel, it changes which way he faces. So if I want him to face this way, I have to pass it under the leg. By passing it under the leg, it controls behind his knee, forcing him to this side. And that's how the worm guard became so powerful, is by controlling the lapel either here or here, it controls which direction I want the guy to face, okay? So as we're controlling the lapel like this, like I said, we're not able to generate too much pushing force because I can't push with the lapel. But what you can do is treat it like a spider hook here, and now we have pushing power. If he tries to drive into me like this, I'm able to push him away with my foot. So now we have pushing power, rotational power, and pulling power. So we have control of every single direction, as well as his posture. If he wants to try and stand up straight, by maintaining the control on the lapel, it's going to break his posture. Especially when we start to set up actual worm guard positions. He's definitely not going to be able to posture from here. So we're forcing him to attack in one specific direction. In this case, it's going to be to this side, okay? And so that's the fundamental use of the lapel as a control grip. Cut. Okay, so now we're going to work into some of the lapel guard sweeps that developed into the worm guard. Some really effective stuff that's not necessarily worm guard, but it leads into it. And because you can't always set up worm guard right away, Sometimes it's good to be proficient just using the lapel guard. So Josh is just going to stand up. I'm going to open the lapel. And so say we're in a position like this where his gi is open, or even if it's closed, it doesn't really matter. But the goal is to open the lapel and get it and hold on to it, okay? So sometimes I'll just use my foot. I'll just bring my foot on the inside and kick it open, just like that. I'm going to reach and grab it here, and I'm going to put my foot in what I call the stirrup, which is this pocket here, okay? I put my heel in there, okay? So now I can control his posture with my hamstring. So I can lift my butt off the ground. All that weight is now transferred into his back, and he has to try and hold my weight up. So go ahead and scoot back a little. So we're here in this position, controlling the lapel with my leg. So what this does is now it stops him from being able to pull my legs across for leg drags or any Toriando type pass. If he tries to leg drag, go ahead and try and leg drag me, Josh. My foot's going to get caught in the lapel, and it's not going to work. Same thing to the other side. My foot's going to get caught in the lapel, and he's not going to be able to pass. So this is a very strong position here. I like to control the ankle or go double hands on the collar here, low on the lapel. Okay? So now from here, the first sweep we're going to do is we're going to do an entry into X guard from this position. I'm going to be here. I'm going to control the ankle like this. Now, my left foot is going to go into the lapel here, and I'm going to underhook the ankle and bring my knee underneath his knee. Okay, so my knee is here. I'm underhooking, and I just bring my knee down underneath his thigh. My right foot is going to hook through to behind his knee. I'm just going to extend and start to elevate him into X guard. And then all we do is kick the leg, stand up, and finish the X guard sweep. One more time. Controlling the lapel. Heel goes in the stirrup. Controlling at the ankle. Left foot goes on the lapel as well. I underhook, bring my knee underneath. My right foot goes behind his knee. I pull with the lapel and also with my hip flexor here, pulling him over the top of me, getting myself underneath his body. Both legs are going to extend away, and I get up to my elbow. Once I'm on my elbow, I give one final kick to make him step far away so he can't drive back into me. If I don't do that final kick, he's going to drive his weight on top of me, and I'm not going to be able to finish the position. So I got to give one final kick. My foot plants. Proper way to stand in base. I can catch my hands together, hold him down. Okay? What that looks like fast. Alright, so now from that same position, just controlling with the lapel guard, go ahead and stand up. Alright, so I'm here and I'm controlling. So the last one was when his leg is stepped forward, I can go right into X guard really easily. Okay? The next one is I'm going to be attacking the opposite foot. So let's say he's leading with his left foot this time. So I'm here, I'm controlling at the lapel. This time I'm going to underhook. Make sure the gi is not over his butt. You actually want it to be higher on his back so there's a little more torque on the lapel. So I'm here. I'm going to underhook the leg. As I underhook the leg, you'll see my knee goes from the outside to the inside, just like I was going to X guard, but now I'm on the opposite side. Okay? Now, I'm controlling like this, and I'm trying to pull his weight forward here. Now, from this position, we're kind of like in an X guard position, but instead of bringing my leg through, I'm going to bring my hook around his body. Okay? This is a sweep that Buchecha uses a lot, but he doesn't use it with the lapel. He just underhooks and throws the leg. But we can use it with the actual lapel grip. Okay? So I'm bringing my knee through here, throwing my leg over the top, and then grabbing the pants. As I grab the pants, I just extend his leg through between my legs here, and then I can extend away and take the back. Okay? So we're here. He's leading with his right foot this time. I keep my foot in the stirrup. I underhook and bring my knee to the inside. There's going to be a clear path for me to throw my leg over the top and grab inside his pants or grab the belt if he's wearing one. From here, it's important that my right hand, it comes out from underneath his leg, and I extend my leg through and his leg. He's going to be trying to escape, so sometimes I'll grab both of hands on the pants here, and we can sort of hang on to him no matter where he goes. And we extend and take the back. One more time, all the way through. go into a third really effective lapel guard sweep. This was one made popular by Cobrinha in his lapella plata series. I used to use this a lot, and Cobrinha actually inspired a lot of my lapel guard game. And this is one of the techniques that's really effective, and I actually used in my black belt debut on the Abu Dhabi Pro Trials back in, I think it was 2013. No, it was 2014, but early 2014. So we're going to start in the same lapel position. And in the last sweep, we were attacking to the right, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to keep passing to the right, but this time I'm going to take my foot out of the stirrup. So it was in the stirrup, but now I'm going to pass my foot past his hip, okay? And now if you're familiar with the worm guard, you can kind of see how this eventually developed into worm guard. So I'm going to pass it to my left hand now. So it's in my right hand, same side grip. I'm going to pass it to my left hand as I put my foot past his hip. Now, I'm going to reach underneath his leg in the same way that I was trying to bring my knee in to get to X guard and as well as throw my leg around on the previous two techniques. But now I'm just going to pass the grip to my right hand underneath his leg. So I'm underneath his leg and I have the grip here. Now what's good about this position is that I can actually go back to face him, and this is very strong guard retention position. It's very hard for him to pass. He has to break this grip to actually pass here. So you can control from here, and you can hit a couple sweeps from here just by extending like the howdy doody sweep or whatever you want to do. And there's also triangle options from here. We can get into that later. But now I have the grip underneath him, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to swing my leg around to the outside, but instead of hooking and driving through like we just did, I'm going to follow all the way through. I'm going to bring my head all the way through. Now it's important that your head passes in front of his shin, not around. A lot of people make the mistake of bringing their head on the outside and nothing really happens. There is a knee bar there, but our goal is to actually bring our head underneath here, okay? So when I'm in this position, I'm going to swing my leg all the way around, and my head is going to come underneath. As my head comes underneath, my leg comes around and through to the opposite hip. Now from here, I'm on my shoulder, you can see, and I have a lot of force to be able to drive him down and backwards in this position. I let go of the lapel, grab the collar, and I can start to sit up to hit the sweep. Let's do it from the other angle, on this side. So I have the lapel here. I put my foot past his hip, grab into the lapel here. I reach underneath his leg, pass it to my hand. I'm going to swing my leg around and use the momentum to turn my head onto the inside of his leg. Here, my leg shoots all the way through to the opposite hip. Not quite to 50-50, but just to the opposite hip. If it was here, it would be 50-50. If it's here, we're just going to be able to hit this nice sweep. I keep the lapel until he starts to fall. When he falls, I let go. I'm going to base. Proper way to get up, grab the lapel, and use that to sweep, and we can come into a leg drag position if we do it right. Okay? One more time, the full movement fast. Go on the other side. So I'm here. Alright, we're going to go into the next sweep from the lapel guard now. We're still going to be attacking the same side lapel, but this time we're going to incorporate a new kind of control with our foot. So previously, we had our foot on the outside and past the hip, but this time we're going to come underneath the lapel. This is really effective because it helps us bring his weight over the top of us. We can really get a lot of force and bring him over. See how we can make him step as we start to invert. So instead of putting my foot here to X guard, which is great, we're now going to push on his armpit on the bottom of the lapel. So if you see here, my foot comes underneath the skirt and it catches all the fabric on the way up. That's what I'm trying to get to here. Okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm controlling here. I switch. I'm going to invert and grab the leg. But now instead of hooking or spinning around, I'm just going to make him step over my whole body by pushing with my leg. And then we end up in another back attack position. Okay, so go back. Controlling here, bringing the foot underneath, turning, and I really swing my leg, and then I chop my leg down like I'm doing an axe kick. My right leg is chopping down, pushing him over me. I want to make sure my knee comes through. If I leave my knee through, he could attack a knee bar. So I need to make sure both my knees come through. Then I grab the pants, and we take the back. Okay? Sometimes with this sweep, if you do it really fast and aggressively, the guy may have to like fall forward. Okay? And that can happen, almost like he does a roll. So scoot back a little more. So when I'm here, if I do it really fast and it's hard, I can launch the guy forward, and you can come up in a nice sweep like that. This may happen by accident when you're trying to make him step over you, but if the guy has a really strong base, he's probably just going to step. And that's what we're prepared for, is the guy with a strong base. Because if he has a weak base, you do the same technique, he's just going to fall forward. But as I go here and I try and launch, he maintains his base by sitting his weight back. We have to force him through, bringing our knees in. We can attack the back like that. Okay? Now let's do it full speed. Okay. All right, so now that we've gone over a couple of lapel guard setups, we're going to go into the worm guard. We're going to just go over the very basic position first and a couple sweeps from it, then we'll advance into the next position of worm guard, which is the ringworm guard, and then into reverse delta worm guard. Okay? So, we'll be starting with the same grip, controlling on our favorite side. You can do it on the left or the right side. And we're going to be controlling here, putting our foot in the same spot as if we were controlling the lapel guard, and now we're going to work on setting up the actual position. Okay? So now I'm going to bring my foot from here past his hip, just like we were doing the first position, the Cabrina sweep that he used on Theodore Canal. Okay? I'm going to pass the grip underneath my leg. We're just going to go very slow and put it to my right hand. Okay? So I need to have it lassoed around my leg. There's a couple ways you can do that. You can just throw your leg through and stick it past the hip. Go on the other side so I can see this. So I can be here, pass it around like this, or you can just grip the lapel and lasso it through and kick through. It's important that my foot is all the way past his hip. I don't want my foot to be on his hip yet. We can use that later on in a couple positions. I want to have my foot all the way through, and as well I want to have my toes pointed out. I don't want to have my toes pointed in, because if they're in, he can reach back and possibly set up a toe hold position, or just push my leg down and give some good leverage. But if my foot's on the outside, if he reaches back and try and push on my foot, it's not going to go anywhere. It's a much stronger position. From here, I need to get his left leg forward, okay? So if he doesn't have his left leg back, all we have to do is just pull in, and he's going to step. And that's all we need, okay? From here, I'm just going to sit up. I swing my leg to help me sit up. As I swing, I throw like I'm throwing a left hook around his knee, like I need to hold onto his knee. Then this hand is going to grab the lapel, and I'm going to reach with my right hand and go behind the knee. So one more time from the other side. We can set it up here. I'm going to lasso, kick my foot all the way through. If he doesn't have that leg forward, I pull him in so that he steps, and I can push away with my leg. I sit up, grab the lapel with my left hand, and then my right hand is going to go to the outside, palm down. Now this palm down, we're controlling his posture, because it's very hard for him to stand up straight because we have so much friction on his lapel between my leg lassoed and under his knee, and then my grip. I can hang onto this grip really tightly without worry. Now he's also being forced to face to his left. Okay, he's not able to turn into me because I'm torquing on his knee. Okay, he's not able to turn his knee back into me because I have my forearm pushed across his knee. And I'm really making sure I'm driving across with my elbow here. Okay, now we're in this position, and this is the worm guard. There's three positions. This is the first one, worm guard. Second is ringworm guard, and then reverse delta worm guard. From here, we're just controlling, okay? I want to be up on my elbow, and I want to continuously try and scoot to the outside as much as possible. I don't want to stay straight here. If I stay here, he can drive his knee down, and I'm not able to actually torque his knee across. See how my elbow is straight here? When I turn to the side, I'm able to drive my elbow in. Now if he tries to put pressure in with his knee, it's not going to work. My elbow's going to be fine. I'm going to be able to maintain that grip strong. My right foot, as you can see, is all the way through. There's space here. If your legs aren't as long, that's fine. Even if my foot is here, it's still the worm guard position. It can go all the way through or just to here. So even if you have short legs, this will work just fine. controlling like this. Okay? One more time. From this angle here. So, we can lasso and then sit up and get the position. Or we can have the grip, put our leg through, and then sit up and immediately pass it through to the other hand. Okay, so we can lasso or just go straight through. I reach behind his knee, pass the grip. Then from here, I fall to the other side and switch to my right hand. This is the worm guard position. From here, our goal is to be sitting around his back as much as possible. Even if he continues turning into us, we have to follow that position and keep him off balance the whole time. And he's trying to maintain his posture as I'm trying to break his posture and break his base at the same time. So that's the introduction to the worm guard position. Alright, so now that we've covered how to go into the basic worm guard, we're going to go into some basic sweeps from the position. So, we'll be on this side this time. Here at this angle. I'm going to angle this way a little. So I'm here. I personally like to set it up using the passing the grip motion, not the lasso, but both are very effective. And depending on what you like, you should try both. I personally like to put my foot past, swing my leg, and grab his leg, even if it's far away from me, and I pull it in and pass the grip. Then from here, I reach with my right hand across, grip, and then position myself to the outside. Okay? I'm going to turn this way a little. So, I'm here, and I'm trying to move to my left. Always trying to take his base out. Okay? So now, something about this position that makes it so effective is his base is broken to this side. There's nothing here supporting his base except this foot. His foot here. Now, if I try and tilt him over, he's going to step back with that foot. That's how we know that's the thing that's maintaining his base. So we need to try and eliminate that from the equation. The way I'm going to do that is by using my foot. And I'm just going to plant the bottom of my foot here behind his Achilles tendon. I'm going to stick it there. I don't want to put my foot past his foot. I want to stick it with the bottom of my foot. I'm going to use that to stop him from stepping. So now if I try and tilt him back and he tries to take a step, my foot's going to follow it and be able to trip him up. So go ahead and go back up. If I put my foot past, he's just going to be able to step over it, no problem. That's a mistake some people make. So really focus on putting your foot on top, put a little bit of pressure, and now no matter where he moves his foot, my foot will be able to stick to it and track it. Just by putting pressure, it sticks to it. No matter where it goes. I don't even have to use any sort of dexterity or anything. It's just going to stick there. Now I'm going to use my right knee. I'm going to pinch it in as I grab the mat. Get a nice grip full of the mat like Spider-Man. And I pull myself towards it as I push with my leg and I drive with my knee to drive him over. Okay? Now from here you'll see that my knee is on the outside of his knee. Turn this way a little. So my knee is on the outside of his knee. That's what I'm trying to accomplish every time I have the worm guard sweep. My knee is on the inside and I try and come up, I'm just going to end up in single leg X-star. I want to try and avoid that. So when I sweep, it's important my knee is on the outside. That way when I come up, his leg is trapped. And he's forced into like a leg drag position with my leg blocking his knee from coming in. That's the goal we're trying to accomplish from most of the worm guard sweeps. And that's what makes it different than a lot of guard positions is we can sweep into an attacking position here. He's forced to try and turn away or scramble really hard just to recover his guard, not even just to defend the sweep. Because now he's worried about the sweep points that I just got as well as trying to recover his guard, because if he leaves his leg there, I'm easily going to be able to come straight forward and pass him out. Okay, so one more time, the whole sweep through. Here, you can even set worm guard up from the De La Riva position really easily by just putting your foot past, sitting up, passing the grip, palm down to palm down. Here, planting the foot on his ankle, pinching my knee in and over his knee, grabbing the mat and pulling. As I pull, my knee's on the inside. I can see how both my knees come down. If I'm not quite over his knee here, I need to point my knee down and use my forearm to stay over the top of his knee, trapping it in there. Then I drive across, and I end up in this position holding tight with the lapel. Here. That's the first sweep. All right, so we did the first sweep from the worm guard, which is kind of a basic tilt sweep, okay? It's almost like a scissor, but now we're going to go into what happens when the person defends that move, okay? So he's going to lead with his right leg forward. As most people in jiu-jitsu lead with the right leg forward, I like to attack the worm guard on this side. Just statistically, it's more likely to be effective on this leg, his right leg. I'm going to sit up, pass the grip, and we're here. So we did this sweep, right? I'm trying to sweep him over backwards, but sometimes the guy knows that he's going to be able to, he's going to fall. He can feel themselves being tilted over, and they feel like they're losing their base. So what they do is they drop to that knee as I try and tilt them. When they drop to the knee, I lose a lot of my momentum, okay? So go ahead and stand back up. If I'm here, even if you take like one step back and I don't quite trip you yet, but then you feel it, they drop to the knee. When they drop to the knee, I'm not able to tilt them over anymore because now this foot can just rotate and pivot around and create base for him. If I try and tilt him over, that foot's going to be there and it's going to be blocking him. No matter where I push on it, it's still going to create a base. So we need to find a different way to continue tilting him over. Okay? You can see my knee is over the top of his knee still. That's very important. So now what I'm going to do is proper standing base. The proper way to get up, right? Basic jiu-jitsu. Here with my left leg, I'm not able to stop his foot anymore. So I'm going to plant my hand and I'm going to bring my leg through. Okay? So now I have his leg trapped with this lapel and my knee is going to be driving into him. Okay? So he has base on this side. He has base on this side with his left hand, but he doesn't have base that way. He has base this way because his leg is here, but that base is the open base, okay? So the weight on my knee here, pushing down on his thigh, is going to make it very hard for him to get back on up to that foot because I'm going to get up to my foot first and be putting weight into him. So if he tries to stand up, he's going to have to be super strong to be able to get up, okay? So here, as I'm driving into him, I'm going to do like a side kick. I'm going to kick through as hard as I can to drive him down. And see, I even plant my hand on the mat to help me. I'm going to drive my weight in, and I plant my hand, and I force my hand down on top of his knee because I don't want him to be able to bring this knee out, remember? So I force it down on top, and then step around. Okay? One more time. So we're trying to hit our first sweep. It doesn't work. He drops to the knee. From here, I bring my leg out. Proper way to get up, putting my knee heavy on his thigh, and I drive into him. Almost like I'm attacking him with my butt, because that's where all my weight's going to be, driving in. From here, I can go to my left to pass him out, or I can just sidestep around and start to attack a reverse half guard position to pass. One more time. Fast motion. And that's our second sweep from the worm guard. Alright guys, so now we're going to go over what happens when they defend that sweep, okay? I like to teach the worm guard in the sequential events like this. So I do the sweep, they defend, I do the next sweep, they defend, I do the next sweep. So there's counters to counters to counters. So if you do the full worm guard system, you'll hit like 6 or 7 sweeps in a row, attacking each one of them. If they defend them all, they must be a master worm guard themselves because no one can defend all of the worm guard sweeps, okay? And remember, it's not the bite of the snake that kills you. The poison left behind, right? That's why we attack with multiple strikes. So, leading through the sequence of events, I get to worm guard. I attack the tilt sweep. He drops to his knee. I go for my proper standing base to drive him over, and I'm trying to put my weight on him, but it's possible that he's just too strong. And as I drive into me, he drives back into me and gets here. Okay? So now we're both on our feet, and it's my weight versus his. But he has both feet on the ground. I only have one. So he may have better base than me here. If I try and continue driving into him, he may drive back into me and he could take me down. Okay? So instead of trying to make this about strength, I'm going to make it about speed and agility. Okay? So here, I'm going to turn into him, driving into him really hard like I'm trying to take him down, and he's going to be driving into me. But now I'm going to leap through the air and attack his back from here. Okay? The flying back take. So I'm driving, and I'm just going to turn and launch myself onto his back. And throw my hooks in, okay? One more time. Sorry, did I take you by surprise a little? No. Good. Solid base. Here, attack the sweep, he drops to a knee. I get up, I drive into him,
he drives into me. Okay? So you see as I'm turning, my knee is going to go into his hip. See how my knee drives into his hip? I'm going to turn as far as I can while still holding onto the lapel. I'm going to let go of the lapel and reach to his head. Like I'm trying to get a seatbelt grip. Okay, turn this way. So I'm here. My leg's going to be still on his hip. I reach and I grab. Then my leg extends through and I jump to attack the position. And I want to cross my feet here over his butt. Okay? I don't want to have my feet too far this way or this way. I just want to cross my feet tight over his butt like this. Now, from this position, we can throw our second hook in to attack the back. Okay? One more time. In fast speed. Face the camera, Josh. And there it is.
Alright guys, so now we have 3 attacks from the regular worm guard, and we're going to go over what happens when the guy drives you down or is too heavy and we're not able to just bowl him over with brute force, okay? Now against people on your weight, the regular worm guard is really effective, but the second they start to get a little bit heavier and stronger than you, we need to switch into our alternate worm guards to continue being successful with our attacks, okay? So now we're going to be in a situation where I set up my worm guard, and no matter what I try, I'm not able to tilt him over. And I may not even be able to get up, because it's possible that as I try and get up, he's just going to bring his weight into me. I try and get up, he just drives me down flat onto my back. I can still maintain this grip, which is fine, but I'm just going to be holding the position. So I need to start altering my grips to maintain an attacking posture, okay? So this is regular worm guard. It's time to transform into ringworm guard, okay? So from this position, I want to put my foot onto his hip. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's change the angle so everyone can see. So we talked about having our foot all the way past, right? Josh, go ahead and move your arms so they can see. So we talked about having our foot all the way past the hip, right? Here. But now if he drives heavily into me, I need to take his weight off of me. And I can't do that just by having my foot through, because when I extend, it's just going to extend all the way through. And none of that power is going to be generated into it. So now I'm going to put my foot on his hip and thigh. So now, even if he's heavy, I just need to have a little bit of leg strength to be able to push his weight away. Okay? And I keep my foot on his hip. But by having my foot on his hip here, my normal worm guard attacks aren't going to be as effective. So I need to switch back to my left hand. Okay? So just turn the angle again. So my foot is now on his hip, and I switched from worm guard to ringworm guard here. Now I really like this position because no matter how much weight they put into you, driving in, I still feel comfortable here because my foot is on a hip and I have this free hand to block him. Here, pushing on him, so if he really tries to grab my head or anything, I'm able to keep the distance. And I don't let him crush me down and start pressuring my guard. So I keep my hand here as a frame to defend his pressure. Okay? Now, from this position, I want to bring my foot to the shin here. This makes it a lot more effective as well as dealing with people's weight. Because if he keeps driving his knee into me, I can push with my hand, I can push with my foot on his hip, and I can also lift with my shin to extend his weight off of me. Okay, so now we have 3 prongs of pressure to push against his weight, which really makes this position advantageous for us against a heavier opponent. Pushing, extending our leg, and extending our shin to control the position. Here. Now with my hand that's creating the frame, I can also grab inside the collar. I'll turn this way. I'm here, I can grab inside the collar. Now what this allows me to do is when I extend him away and he tries to drive back into me, I can pull him in directions to off balance him and take his weight in different directions instead of pressuring down on me, which I want to avoid. I don't want to pull his weight directly into me. So if he tries to drive back into me, I pull the weight in one direction or the other to keep his weight off. Okay? So now, as he sets up this position, you'll see he bases that hand a lot of the time. And our next sweep is going to take advantage of that hand base.
Okay, so this is the ringworm guard position. I have my left hand behind the knee, my right hand in his collar, my right foot in his hip, but go ahead, stand up, Josh. My right foot is in his hip, but still in the worm guard position, the wormhole as I call it, which is this hole right here. If you get a shot of that, this is the wormhole. And that's what ties all the worm together, the wormhole. Okay? We're going to go into the sweep now. Okay, so now we're in the ringworm guard section of the sweeps attacks. So, we talked about how, when I get these grips and positions, go ahead and put your back to this now. So, I'm here, I have the ringworm guard, and my shin is on his shin, and my hand is in his collar, and my foot, right here, move your hand, my foot and my heel are on his thigh and in his hip. So I'm here, okay? Now you'll find that they can't put pressure on you very much anymore, and so a lot of times they base this hand to maintain their base and posture, okay? Because I'm keeping him so far away with all my feet and shin and foot, hand in his neck here, that it makes it very difficult for him to drive in, so they have to base with this hand. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of this hand basing on the mat, because I know that's the weak part of his base. That's what's holding this whole position together, okay? Now, very few people are going to stay in this squatted position for long because it's hard on their back, so a lot of times they drop this knee to the mat, okay? When they drop that knee to the mat, this helps me a lot. They sit back, they try and relieve the pressure, and they try and wait and try and break this grip or try and pass it in a different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit up here to my elbow, so I'm in a seated position. So this is like seated ringworm guard here. I'm sitting, I have my grip, and that hand is there. Now I'm going to try and reach to that hand. I want to actually reach to the elbow. If I can grab the elbow, that's best, because if it's planted hard on the mat here and the arm is straight, if I pull that elbow, it's going to give him a little bit of a shock in his elbow, and he's going to want to let go of that position and give it to me here, and I'm going to pull it up into the crook of my armpit, okay? If they don't give it to you with just that and they really are fighting, we can grab the sleeve and pull that as well. I prefer the elbow though. So I'm going to grab the elbow, I'm going to pull it in. So now my right foot, it's in his hip, but I need to slide it down his knee a little bit. By sliding it down his knee, it's going to give me a strong kick where I can stretch him out here. And you can see that his base is all off on this side now, especially because I've taken out his knee out of the equation. Now, some people complain like, oh, Keenan, I'm pulling so tight on the worm guard that I can't put my foot down. I can't slide it down his thigh. In this situation, all you do is just bring your hand through and create a little bit of slack for ourselves. So we keep it tight, but just slide our foot down in that position. So now my hand is through his knee, but it's lower on the other knee. My foot is lower on the other knee. And we're still maintaining a strong position. But I want to have this in my armpit as I do that. So I'm here, and I slide it all down. Okay? Now from here, all I'm going to do is tilt us both to our right. I'm just going to tilt and kick his knee. Here. Okay, so let's do it from the other angle. So I'm here. My hand is going to create a little bit of slack. I have his elbow. Hand pushes through. My right foot goes down his thigh onto his knee. I kick his leg out. As I kick, I turn him and fall to my right. Now my foot is still on his thigh. It's going to be very hard for him to get back up to his knees. If he tries, I'm just going to keep my foot extended on his knee. So go ahead and try and get back up. I keep my foot on his knee and keep tilting him over. It's going to be very hard for him to get up because I'm controlling this right arm. From here, I need to sit up. But I can't sit up if my right foot is still at his knee. If I sit up here, it's going to be a stretch of my hip. It can be hard. So what I need to do first is curl my foot in. So I curl my foot in, sit up, and I want to reach underneath his arm and put my armpit to his armpit. Still maintaining this position here. Control. Now from here, it's going to be very easy to pass the guard. I can just let go and push the leg. And I'm putting heavy pressure on his shoulder so he can't turn into me. Okay? One more time. Now, so fun fact, this is the sweep I used against Braulio Estima at the World Pro in our absolute match that eventually won me the match. So it's a very effective sweep, especially if they're prepared for the worm guard, defending in all sorts of ways and really heavily leaning to the opposite side. They're overcommitting even. So I reach, pull the arm, kick the knee, and tilt. As I tilt, I pull my foot in, and I sit up and connect armpit to armpit. If he brings his arm on the inside, that's okay. We're still going to connect over his arm, try to put my armpit on his shoulder, and drive with heavy pressure, controlling the top knee to push him over. Okay? So that's the sweep from there. Alright, so from that same position now, we're just going to follow a different route once we finish the actual sweep. So when I'm here, and he drops to his knee, like this, and I'm shin to shin, turn it this way a little more. Here. So I'm going to grab his elbow, and I'm going to kick the knee and tilt. Now when I come up like this, it's possible that instead of just laying down and giving me the pass, he's going to turn into me, get up to his knees. If this happens, turn this way now. As he drives up into me here, I need to make sure I escape my hips. I escape my hips out like a shrimp, and I put this right hook in, preparing to take the back. Sometimes you can reach up and grab the lapel here to make sure the position's a little tighter. Here, like this. Then, if he continues to try and get up to his knees or anything, I'm just going to grab his hip and pull myself on top to attack the back. My other option is to grab the hip and drag him down, and then take the back. So just a really simple option. Go on your back again. Just go straight to your side. Here. So whenever we're in these kind of positions, we can be ready for that. If you want to take the back instead of pass, you can just put your foot here first. Kind of baits him into turning into us. So he drives up, then I put my hand to the hip, and drag him over, or jump to his back. Just a simple little option there. Okay? Alright guys, so now we're going to be in the ringworm guard position again. It should be on this side, I believe. So now that we're familiar with the position, and we're in ringworm guard, which is our left hand, the hand opposite to our knee here. If he feels like he's hiding, he knows I'm going to be trying to catch this arm and take him in, he's going to be hiding that arm. And if he stays on his knee here, he's not really going to be able to attack a lot. So let's say the guy stands up now. He's standing up and he's hiding this arm, so we can't tilt him over. Even if we get his arm, his leg is back, and I can't really tilt him because he's going to have a solid base. So now I'm going to go back to my collar grip here. Okay, scoot back that way a little so we have some room. So I'm here. I go back to that collar grip. Now with this shin in position, with my shin on his shin here, I can generate a lot of force this way. I can really elevate a guy up. Okay, so I'm going to take advantage of that, and there's a good, nice elevation sweep we can do from here. So I'm going to pull him into me. I bring my knees to my chest. Once I bring him about halfway where I feel like I can lift him with my legs, I'm going to take him all the way up and over, okay? Most of the time they're going to plant their hand on your collar here. So when they do that, it's going to allow me to bring them all the way up and over to a nice Tomonagi type sweep. One more time from this angle. So pay close attention to where my shin is. That's very important. My shin is doing a lot of the elevation here. My hand here in the collar is going to help me pull him in. Then once he's here, I pull my knees to my chest, and then both legs extend up. So I'm elevating him in the air. Then from here, this leg is extending up, and then I'm just tilting him all the way over forward. Coming up in that same worm guard position, where we're attacking almost like a leg drag. And we can pass. Okay? One more time, full speed. Here. Just like that. Okay, so now we're going to continue that same sort of motion, but this time our opponent's going to block with his hands, stopping us from bringing him all the way over the top. Go ahead, stand up. So I'm here, I have the same grips, but as I pull him up and forward, his hands are going to plant on the mat and stop me. If he plants his hands, there's no way I'm going to be able to elevate him over. If I continue to push, he's just going to bring his legs out and he'll just land to the side, and I lose my worm guard position. So we're going to take a different path, and we're going to attack the back here, okay? So my foot is still in his hip. As I bring him up and he plants with his hands, I bring my head to the outside. So I clear my head out from underneath him, okay? And now my left hand is going to push his knee through, and my right leg is going to extend up and away. And I start to attack the back here. Start twisting his body in midair. We don't have to twist him 180 degrees like this. We're just taking him from here to here, and then my body does the rest with a little bit of a shrimping motion. So again, as I bring him up, he plants, I'm going to turn my head out to the side. And then I extend and push with my hand as I extend my left leg out and kick my right leg. Okay? You need to do this one with a little bit of speed and momentum to make sure it works properly. So here. We can attack it like that. It's important that my left hand that's on the knee is punching through to turn his body as my right hand extends up and away. Then my right hand here, my left hand, right foot, left hand. We gotta cut this part out. I don't know what I'm talking about. But basically, the position here, everything is working to rotate his body in the air. My left hand punching through, my right leg extending, my right hand pulling across. So here, I turn everything. And my right hook falls right in, and we're on his back. Okay? Alright, so from the other side, it looks like this. I'm here. Foot is on his hip, left hand through by the knee, right hand in the collar. I elevate him up, and he plants. I turn my head out to the side, and I'm extending everything out and away from me. Okay? I can keep this grip on the lapel until I get my bottom hook, and then I go to the seatbelt grip and attack the back. One more time, this angle here, right here. I lift him up, I make him plant, I extend everything away, my body's going to fall right up into this position, hooking the bottom leg, left arm comes over the top of his head. We escape and take the back. Okay, so we went over a couple attacks from the ringworm guard, but there is another option the guy has on top that we didn't cover yet, and that's if he hides his arm and he stays in a seated position. It can be difficult to elevate a heavy guy from that position, so we need to switch into the third worm guard position, which is the reverse Della worm guard. The reverse De La worm guard, okay? Because it's kind of like a reverse De La Hiva position, but we're using the worm guard grip still with the wormhole, okay? Which makes it a worm guard position. Okay, so when we're in the ringworm guard here, and I'm like this, we talked about what happens if he stands up. We can elevate him and pull him forward and make him base and take the back and all sorts of different things. But if he stays here and his hand is back and I can't reach it and he's hiding it from me, he just wants to stall here and not do anything. Okay? We need to go into the last attacking position, which is my personal favorite and the one I was most effective with at Worlds last year. Okay? So now from this position, all I'm going to do is escape my shin out from underneath his shin, underneath my leg. I escape it here. My right hand is going to follow that path. It's just going to replace it. If you get confused, just grab your toe and pull it through. And then I'm going to grab the lapel here. So I'm switching my left hand to my right hand. That same grip. Now this is the reverse Della worm guard position. When I do this, if he sits back, he's going to have a bad time because I can easily bring my knee over the top and start tilting him up and over. Okay? So he's usually going to sit back and drive back into me from this point. Okay, so let's say he's from this position here. This is our main attacking position from the reverse Della worm guard. It works best when people drive into you. The more he pushes in, the more opportunities of attack I have. Okay, I have this hand free here, rodeo style, to block anything he comes at me with. If he starts to try and reach for me with that hand, I can block it. I can make sure I have a frame here, and I can attack this arm with all sorts of different things, which we're going to go into later. Okay. Now, if he stands up, it's even better, because now I can really tie up his legs and do all sorts of spinning movements and tripping him up and getting myself underneath him to sweep. So this position here is the most important. I'm just reaching under, grabbing the lapel, and keeping it tight here. Now, if he drives into me, his knee is going to be over the top of my knee, which is fine. But to actually sweep from here, I want to make sure my knee is over the top of his knee. Here, pulling the lapel through to my hip. The tighter I pull it through, the harder it's going to be for him to bring his knee back underneath. If I keep it relaxed, he's going to be able to bring it through just fine. So I need to pull it through tight and keep a tight control here, really forcing him to face that way. Okay? Now, a lot of times people don't want to leave their arm here because we have attacks on it, like plata, arm bar, all sorts of different stuff we'll get into later. But from here, this is the sweeping position. We're very strong from here. So we're looking for this position as well as this position. There's sweeps from both positions. We're going to go over them now, but this is the reverse Dellen worm guard position. We get to it by being in ringworm guard. I bring my hand through, grab the lapel here, and keep it tight. Then I can elevate my knee over the top or go back to this position here, and that's the reverse Dellen worm. Okay, so from the reverse Dellen worm position, we're going to go into the first sweep, which is the worm NATO. It's kind of like a tornado sweep, popularized by Cyborg, but this is the worm NATO. It's similar, but different in a variety of ways, which I'll go over now. Go ahead and stand up, please. So this could be done from the kneeling or the standing position of the reverse Dellen worm. So we went to ringworm guard, and then we switched. You can face this way a little more. Bring it this way, yeah, but a little less, There you go. So here, I have a ringworm guard and I invert to reverse Dellen worm. Okay? Now from here, my left hand is free, rodeo style. But now I'm going to reach to his collar, palm in facing him, thumb down. Okay? So my hand is to his chest, but my thumb is downward. I don't want to grip like this. The reason is if from here I'm pulling, I'm bringing him into me, but if I have my elbow up, I can pull him up and over me. So we can get a little bit of a stronger pull if we go thumb down. So now, once I have this grip, I'm going to swing my leg around and flip to an inverted position. Here, I'm right side up, I go upside down. When I'm in this position here, my leg here is going to have a lot of torque to swing him down like a tornado sweep. Okay? And I also have my left hand to help me. So as I pull in, I keep him tight to me with my left hand, and then I'm going to swing my leg and use the momentum of that to pull him all the way up and over. Sweep like a tornado sweep, but it's a worm NATO sweep. So again, here, reaching through, I grab the collar and I spin. My foot is in his gi here, and I'm going to launch him up and over. Now it's very important that when we launch him, this leg doesn't get left behind. It has to pass and swipe underneath his body. If I leave it, it's just going to look like this. And that looks stupid, so don't do that. So as you throw him over, you'll see my leg cut underneath him. Cuts underneath his body. Then we end up in the familiar worm guard passing position. That should be our goal in all these positions. Now this is the sweep I used on Leandro Lowe at the 2014 Worlds, and we ended up in this position for a second. I was here attacking the mount, and he was able to bring his knee in and recover a little bit. But there is an attack there, and you should always try and take advantage of that. Okay, one more time, fast. We'll do this angle actually. Ringworm guard, escape my hips, reverse Dellen worm, grab the collar, swing my leg in a big motion, bring him up and over, and finish here. So that's the worm NATO sweep from the reverse Dellen worm. Alright guys, so we just did the worm NATO sweep, and now we're going to go over what happens if we're not able to get that sweep, or you just don't like that position. There's another really effective attack from the reverse Della Hiva that is probably my favorite of all of the worm guard sweeps. Okay? I'm going to get the reverse Dellen worm here and here. Now, we talked about how bringing the knee over the top is really effective to attack the back, and it is. Okay? So my goal here is to bring my knee over the top. To do that, I can do it in a couple of ways. I can plant my foot on the mat and lift my hips, Or you can swing your leg up into the air and kick to get your hips off the mat. Okay? Because if I'm just here and I just try and bring my knee over the top, it's not as effective. I got to really throw my leg up and over and trap it here. See how I face all the way to the other side. Then once I'm here, I'm trying to bring this left leg through to the opposite hip in a deep De La Riva type hook. Okay? Let's do it from the other side. Here, in the position, I got to get my knee over the top of his knee. I can plant and bring my knee over, or I can lift and bring my knee over. From here, I want to scoot to the outside as much as I can and bring this hook all the way through to his hip. You can see here that my feet are connected together, and I have a tight grip on the lapel. This lapel is pulled tight into my hip here. Once I get this grip, it's very hard for the guy to turn into me. He's almost giving me his back at this point, because the more he tries to turn into me, the easier I can pull him up, break his base, break his posture, and start to attack his back. So once I'm here with this deep hook, I sit up with my free hand and grab inside his pants. And then here begins the rodeo ride. I'm holding on. He may jump wherever he wants to go. The more he turns around, the more I hang on. And I'm just fighting for the back here. I have my grip here right inside his pants. Whenever I get deep enough with my grip here and my leg is deep on his thigh, I can bring him in and extend him away and take the back. And that's what I'm looking for. But we can stay there as long as we need. The position's so strong. He's not going to be able to break the grip on his pants, and he's not going to be able to break the grip on the reverse Della worm. So here, lift, put my leg through, grab the pants, and then I'm hanging on. His posture is so broken, his base is off, and he's facing away from me. He's in a very bad spot. And then I pull him in and extend both my legs away. And we take the back. Okay? Okay, so now that we've gone through the worm guard, the ringworm guard, and the reverse Della worm guard, and we hit a couple sweeps from each position, I'm going to show you how they can kind of tie into each other and complete the cycle of the worm guard. So we've gone from left, which is the worm guard, to center, which is ringworm guard, to the right, which is the reverse Della worm guard. And now we come full circle with this movement here, which you can see. So, if we go to the regular worm guard here, this is worm guard, right? Basic position, the starting position, okay? If I want to get to reverse Della worm guard from here, you would think that you have to go back to ringworm guard, then go to reverse Della worm guard to get there. So there's that connecting movement. But whenever we're doing jiu-jitsu, it's always good to eliminate extra steps, okay? So to eliminate that extra step of going to ringworm guard, all we're going to do is put our hand palm up, okay? Now this is one of my favorite ways to play the worm guard now because it's so versatile, okay? And the way it's versatile is once my hand is palm up, all I'm going to do is bring my foot through to his shin, and I'm going to go like I'm trying to do a standing base sweep like we did from the first position, the first worm guard position. So I go to the standing base, except now instead of standing all the way up, I turn my hand over. So it's here, and I'm just going to switch my wrist, and I'm going to do a little bit of a forward roll, like a headstand though. So I forward roll, but I'm basing on my head for a second and spinning through. And look where we are. We're in the perfect sweeping position from the reverse Della worm, the place we want it to be. I continue the motion, put my foot through, and take the back. So that's how you can go from the worm guard right to the reverse Della worm guard, strongest position. So palm up, bring my knee up, come around. It's a really smooth attack, and one of the most beautiful of all jiu-jitsu techniques. Okay, so we just went over that connecting movement. Now go ahead and stand up again. I'm going to show you how. Go on this side, please. Okay, so we went through all the different positions of worm guard attacks, ringworm attacks, reverse delta worm attacks. And then I just showed you how with a simple grip switch here, you can connect the ringworm guard into the connect the worm guard into the reverse delta worm guard. Okay? But now, it's not absolutely necessary to go straight to reverse delta worm guard. If you like this deep De La Riva hook sweep, we don't have to go to worm guard from there. Reverse delta worm guard. Okay? So we're going to do it right from worm guard. So I'm here, I'm going to plant my hand, and I'm going to bring my foot deep through. Now you can't do this if you have your palm down because you're not going to be able to get as strong of a pull. So you have to be palm up. So if this was the reverse delta worm guard sweep, my hand would be on the outside, which is strong as well. But I find that this one is very strong. Here. I can put my foot through here, I can grab the pants, and I can tack the back in the exact same way. Okay? So it's pretty simple. So if you're the kind of person who likes regular worm guard, and you don't like reverse delta worm guard, you can use this grip to accomplish the same attacks, which is a nice option because some people feel that their legs are too short for the reverse delta worm guard. So we're here, bring your leg through, escape my hips, grab the pants, and pull this really tight. Now with this one, it really can get really like winched in here, so tight that he's not going to be able to escape this knee or stand up again. I like to pull it in so tight that then I might even switch here just to keep the grip. There's a lot of excess lapel here, and that means that it's really tight all throughout here on my leg. Then I grab the pants and pull him in and extend away to take the back. Okay? Okay, so from that same position now, the inverted grip worm guard. I'm here from the inverted grip worm guard, my palm up. Now, instead of trying to take the back here by putting the hook through, we're going to be able to just plant our foot, just like we're doing the regular worm guard sweep. And when I tilt him over, I'm going to pull this really tight, and as I tilt, I come straight up on top and kick my knee through as far as I can. See how my foot is all the way out here. Putting a lot of pressure on his leg, and then I can drive straight to mount. Very strong attack. Very simple. So it's almost the same as the first worm guard sweep, except we have our palm up, so it's another option. And then from there, we can attack the back with like the reverse delta worm guard sweep. So it's just another variation.